That Vibe with No Jive. And I want to thank you so much for joining us. And today we want to talk about family relationships and low self esteem. Now, this is going to be a little bit of kind of a sensitive topic. And I want to really start out with story, but it's really not just family relationships, it's relationships, period, close relationships and low self esteem. And so we want to take one of the famous comments by Michelle Obama: when they go low, we want to go high. So, what is some characteristics of low self esteem? It's downplaying or ignoring your positive qualities. If someone is constantly doing that to you, judging themselves to be inferior to their peers, you're using negative words to describe yourself, or others are using negative words to describe you, like you're ugly, you're fat, you're stupid. And your self talk is very critical. You're very critical of yourself. You blame yourself for things when things go wrong, when you're blaming yourself. These are some characteristics. And one of the things we want to look at, if you're overlooked or downplay your experience, and these relationships can happen whether you're at work, whether you're at home. And I want to share a story about a story that I've heard too many times. You can fill in the blanks, whether it's an Abby or whether it's a Pam or a Sandra or a John. I've just heard this story too many times where a family member is constantly saying things to you about your weight. You may come on a family vacation and you're seeing your family, you haven't seen your family in a while, and they're commenting about your weight. They're talking about your size, how much weight you've gained to yourself or behind your back or to your children. And they have just belittled you in a way that you feel uncomfortable, even to the extent you really don't want to go around them, but they're your family. It could be your spouse, it could be your mother, it could be your sibling. But how do you deal with that when someone is constantly berating you and you need to go higher because it's impacting your weight. It's impacting what is eating you. You are maybe it's childhood trauma that you're dealing with. What are some family experiences that can lead to a healthy self esteem? We don't want to just focus on the negative without highlighting the positive. So, some healthy self esteem, family relationships, when it's healthy self esteem, is being listened to, being praised, being given high and achievable expectations. The opposite of that would be if people are putting expectations on you that they know you're not able to achieve. Um, One of the things we want to talk about is, you know that you are struggling with managing your weight, but you're hearing these voices, whether they've told you this as a child or whether you're in a relationship where they are talking to you now about that as an adult. How do you manage? How do you manage? How do you pick up the pieces with that negative self-talk, because you're hearing that computer over and over and over. If you dealt with some childhood trauma and you've heard that your whole life, and it's impacted your mental wellness, it has impacted how you are managing your weight. I like to say, You have to unpack what's eating you so you can stop eating it. The first thing I will say is love yourself. Self-love. How do you love yourself? You have to first accept where you are. Let's say you do need to lose weight or you need to make changes. The first thing you have to identify that you need to make changes. The second thing you want to do when I talk about self-love, you want to give yourself grace. You want to accept where you're at, but you also want to know that it's time for you to take action, right? Self-talk. I want you to start today with positive self-talk. You want to mitigate the negative self-talk, and you want to start talking to yourself in a positive way. Let's say someone is constantly telling you you're ugly or you're not enough or you can't do it or you're fat. I want you to reverse that and say, I am enough and I can do it. Whatever it is, you want to counterbalance what they're saying with what you know is true. Because one of the things that I know for certain, it doesn't matter what you say about me, it matters what I say about me. And so that's why our self-talk must be positive. And I want you to assess where you're at. If you feel you need to get help, whether that's with a therapist, you want to talk to your doctor, I want you to get help. You always want to seek professional help, but I want you to assess where you're at, whether it's your mental wellness, whether it's time for you to start really focusing on loving yourself and start moving and start taking a chance in being more conscious in what you're eating. I want you to take one step at a time, but I want you to first acknowledge that you have a challenge. And if you need to seek help, whether that's getting a trainer, whether that's getting a therapist, getting a fitness coach, whatever you need, get that help. And then I want you to take the step to take action. That's the key. Self-love, your self-talk, and take action. It takes that one step. A journey to 1,000 miles begin with the one step. I'm Dr. Frances Richards here with Live at 5 with No Jive. We will be back tomorrow with another strategy and tip to help you to live your best life. And I want to thank Abby for entrusting us with that amazing topic. Thank you for sharing. So we would talk about family relationships and low self-esteem. Just remember that you are enough, you can do it, and you will do it. We'll be back tomorrow. Before you engage in any type of program, whether it's dealing with your health, your wellness, physical activity, always consult with your doctor first. Dr. Frances Richards here. We'll be back tomorrow live at 5 with No Jive. Have an amazing evening. Take care.